Tim Petrowich here for Dateline Marion. Our guest is Marion head football coach Kerry Martin. Coach, the Wildcats finally got a win last week, and actually a fairly impressive win, 42-0 over Harrisburg. A lot of things that kind of turned around and fell into place for your team last week.
Well, you know, it was a good night for us, I think, in all three phases of the game. I think our defense got a shutout, which is pretty hard to get in any kind of level of football, but the offense took advantage of some special teams, especially played well enough to get us in good field position, so we took advantage of those opportunities, and we made some big plays, which we haven't done yet. We made some big passes, some big runs, some big punt returns, and I thought our special teams really played well, pitting them deep, good coverage, good returns. Our extra point team was right on, so it's just good to see the team have a nice, balanced effort, and I thought the kids played their hearts out.
You set the tone early in the game. You talked after the game about the physicality of your team. You set the tone early with the first punt return. Xavier Cambrick gets a nice return, gets deep into Harrisburg territory, but that doesn't happen without a couple of huge blocks, one from Justin Nicholson and one that brought the house down from Matt McAuliffe. It just seemed like the whole night the team was, even the players that weren't with the ball and the ones that weren't in the spotlight were making big plays like that.
I agree. And I think that's what we've been kind of waiting on, was for guys to step up and make plays. And we've been talking about that for the first 2 weeks up to the third week of the season, that we weren't making plays. And you're right, throughout the game, whether it was a block, a catch, an improvised scramble with a down the field throw to Seth Bear or whatever, we just had some guys make plays. And in this game of football, you've got to make plays. And things do break down and things do happen, but I thought our defense played a great ball game up front, shutting down what has been a pretty good running game for them. And that's what they're going to hang their hat on. And we put them in some second long, third and long situations, and that's where we had to be successful.
Part of the problem you had in the first couple of games with Central and Centennial both was that teams were getting to the edge, and I know that Harrisburg ran some of the jet sweep package and things like that. Your guys were able to get out in those lanes without committing and without over pursuing, and cut some of that off this time.
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's something we've tried to stress. But I think, not to look too far ahead from what we're talking about, but we're going to face a team this week that's going to challenge that edge also, and so it was good to see us do a better job of containing the outside game, but we're going to need to continue doing that with the upcoming schedule with Mount Vernon and Cahokia coming up, who are both will attack the edge pretty hard. So I think we made a lot of improvement, and we're going to keep that improvement going.
Also, the defense made some nice adjustments in the progress of the game. Harrisburg's first play, quarterback draw up the middle, got 7 or 8 yards. They did not get a first down on that possession,
right,
and you were able to shut things down. The Bulldogs only had 30 yards offense in the first half.
Yeah, I can't say enough about the job that the defensive line did, and the linebackers of keeping things inside very difficult. Coach Dunning and his defensive staff did a really good job of making your right adjustments, because we saw a few different looks and our kids handled those adjustments. And I think that the preparation through the week had been spot on what we needed to be, and so it's just good to see the staff make those adjustments, especially the game time adjustments, which I think is a mark of any good staff. And I love how our kids finished the game. We put in our second team kids late in the ball game, and what I love about it is they kept playing. And it's their opportunity to go out and play, and they practice all week, and we were cheering them on because we feel like they have the right to go out and try to play their best, and they need our support like they support the first string guys. And I was proud of the fact that they were able to maintain that shutout and keep Harrisburg out of the end zone.
Talked a lot about the special teams and the defense. Let's talk about the offense. A lot of good execution there, and Braden Ziegler's going to get his. He got 75 yards and 3 touchdowns. But I really thought it was kind of a breakout game for Isaac Baker, especially throwing the ball. 8 for 11, and he had about 150 yards. A couple of nice balls, one to Brandon Osborne right at the goal line for a touchdown. Really threw the ball on the money a couple times.
Yeah, I thought he was really accurate. I think the throws that he missed in the right places, which that's a big deal. You don't want to miss in bad places, and that's where the interceptions come from. So if you're going to miss, there's certain ways you want to miss, and even when he was off, it was still the right throw. I thought his feet were better, and we talked about through the week. Once he gets his feet set, the ball gets delivered on time, and I thought he did a nice job during the week of improving that. Let's hope he continues that, because when his feet are right, he's a pretty good quarterback.
I think another thing too is that in the previous games he's taken some sacks that maybe he didn't have to, and in this game in particular, instead of doing that, he was able to get rid of the ball.
Right, I agree with you, and getting rid of the ball is a huge part of preventing sacks. We blame the offensive line every time there's a sack, but sometimes it's the coverage and sometimes it's the quarterback holding on the ball too long. And so Isaac is learning to get rid of the ball or get it out quicker, and when to scramble and how to scramble. And it was nice to see us scramble this week and make a throw down the field. So those are all improvements.
Harrisburg is behind you now, and you look ahead to Cahokia, and it's a Cahokia team that is probably the same kind of Cahokia team that you face every year. A lot of athletes. To a certain extent, you never really know who's going to be able to play from week to week. But whoever they put out there, they're very athletic and very quick, and they can do some things. Even with a 1-2 record, they can do some things that really concern you.
Well, two things. First of all, their record are 1-2, but they've lost to Alton and O'Fallon.
Right.
So
two pretty good teams.
Yeah, and two teams that are in larger classifications, probably 6 to 7A or bigger. So that being said, they played a tough schedule, so their records, every year we play them, their record's deceiving. Kind of like our record this year. I think we're better than our record indicates. I think they are too. The next thing is the fact that, I think when you prepare for Cahokia, I went back and looked at last 5 years of film against them. And you're right, there is a signature of the way they play and the way they look. The aggressive style, the way they run, what they do, their blitz packages and so forth. Year after year, Coach Galladay puts out this high-quality football team, and it's a mirror image of each other year after year after year. And so it's amazing how many good football teams he's produced over the years, how many good kids he's graduated. He's got one in the NFL right now, one playing at Missouri, and yet he's still able to retool, reload, and get those quality athletes back on the field again to wreak havoc among conference teams. So it's a great challenge. I love playing them because I think beating them is a huge confidence boost, because if you can handle the athleticism of Cahokia, you can handle the athleticism of anybody else we're going to play in the conference.
And it's also a situation where you go back and look at 5 years, you can also maybe pick out some tendencies in some certain areas where you can possibly attack.
Yeah, certainly there's things that we feel like have been successful over the last 5 years, and certainly some things they've gotten better at defending from 3 or 4 years ago. But I think there's a certain game plan I'm sure they have for us because of our history and we have for them. And those old films helped. I think we get able to show the kids some things we've done in the past that have been successful and things we can tweak a little here and there to try to be more successful this year. But we've had some great games the last few years, and have a great history against them, some overtime games in the past, so it ought to be a great matchup.
You talked about your schedule early on, and I'm not sure very many people would have thought that Champaign Central and Champaign Centennial would both be undefeated 3 games into the season. So those are really 2 pretty good games to prepare you heading into the South 7 Conference.
Yeah, they are. We thought both teams were really good and when we played them, and I guess their record's proving that now, being both of them undefeated. And so, it's good to see they're having success, because we may need those playoff points down the line if we're fortunate enough to keep improving. And but yeah, we feel like we tried to make the schedule better to become a better football team. I think that showed some Friday that we are a better football team because of the schedule. But now it's conference time, and there isn't a team in the conference schedule that's not capable of beating you any given night. So it gets tough from here on out. Doesn't get any easier, and Cahokia's the next one up.
Second home game in a 3-game stretch, but Wildcat Stadium's going to look a little bit different Friday night. It's not going to be the traditional blue and gold that you see for most of the home games. Friday night's a special night, something that's been going on now for 3 or 4 years here at Marion. Talk a little bit about the special effects of Friday night.
Well, it's something we borrowed from SIU a couple of years ago, and I think this is our 4th year of doing Pink Out, and we've had amazing community support, fan support, school support in doing so, and our players will be wearing pink jerseys in honor of, or in memory of, or in honor of a cancer survivor or victim to cancer. And we'll have 105 kids or players approximately dressed on Friday night, and we'll have kids in jerseys with names on the back. And Holly Boyd spearheads this thing for me there in the Marion High School office and just does an amazing job. We've had great support from the hospital and some other people, And it's just a special night. And kind of a motto we have every year is that, you know, we're going to go out and we're going to play a football game, but on the back of that jersey is somebody's number one. And what we mean by that is you're wearing a jersey, and whoever sponsored that jersey, that individual in the back is the most important person in someone else's life. Even if you don't know them, you're playing for somebody's number one. So we want to have a little added inspiration in honor of the individual we're wearing on the back. Know them or not know them, we know that it's important to somebody else. And we're hoping in some way our play on the field, win or lose, can honor them, honor their courage, their sacrifice, their commitment to fighting this, to overcoming it or suffering from it. My dad lost his life to cancer, and I was able to have a player wear his jersey a couple of years ago. And it's just a special feeling to look out there and see your father's name or a loved one's name on the back of that jersey. So it's a special night, I think, for our school.
And it's a little bit different this year. In previous years, it's been navy blue jerseys with pink numbers and letters. This year, it's actually a pink jersey.
It is, yeah. We've gone pink this year. We're trying to mix it up and get some different colors and different things, and so we're going pink this year. Ought to be really an interesting look on the field. And so, as I said, it's nice to be a part of. It's nice to be a part of anything where we can give back, because you know, as football coach, you get a lot. People, you know, buy our fundraiser cards, and fans come out and cheer our kids on, and we're fed by several area businesses and churches through the year, and people give us a lot. But it's nice for my kids and our program to be able to give back, and I think this is one of the ways we can do that. We do some community service projects as a team, but it's nice to be able to do one for the community and be a part of that, and then be able to hand back some of that donation to some people in our district that are battling cancer and in need of some financial assistance.
One of the neat things about this evening is at the end of the game, when the players all line up on the sideline and they present these jerseys to the people who sponsored them during the game. That's just really neat to see that exchange, and possibly people who have never met this player before, so you can put a face to the person you're helping.
I agree. That is a special night. I've been a part of it with family members' jerseys, and I've been able to stand back and watch the exchange take place, and sometimes it's very emotional when it's involving the same family or someone they do know, or one of our players is wearing their grandfather's name on the back of his jersey, or his mother's, or his dad's, or whatever. And there's a lot of emotion on this field that night. And I think, as much as anything, it puts it all in perspective. You know, we make this out to be really important. Don't get me wrong, football is very important, and winning and losing is important to me. And when you have a moment like that, you realize just where it ranks priority-wise. And you're talking about people's lives and family and loved ones, and we're just blessed to be healthy enough to coach and play in this great game. And they're on the real field of battle, battling something that's very serious and affects every family somewhere in some way. So it's a great night, kind of a gut check for all of us to remember what really matters: family and friends and good health and those kinds of things. And so it's a good night all around. Win or lose the ball game, there's a great thing taking place on our field.
This has been very successful as well. A lot of these things raise a few $100s. This event seems to raise tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It couldn't be done without a lot of community support and a lot of sponsorship, and it's just a great night and a great opportunity for our fans and kids to kind of come together for a cause bigger than football.
The Cahokia Comanches come to town Friday night. It's also Pink Out Night. So don't come to the game wearing your blue and gold. Come wearing pink and show your support, and it should be an interesting night and another chance to see the Wildcats.
That's right.
Friday night at 7 o'clock. Coach Kerry Martin's our guest. For Dateline Marion, I'm Tim Petrowich.